Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. I hope you're doing good and well. So it's time for a new album review this Sunday, and this time I'm talking about the 6th studio album from the singer Poppy. This is her release Negative Spaces, which came out via Sumerian Records on Friday the 15th of November, and the album is 15 tracks and about 42 minutes in length. So I'm familiar with the name Poppy, didn't really check out her music until in the run-in to this release, Negative Spaces. I did listen to Zig actually in the lead into this album and thought that was quite an interesting record, very electro-pop. Her vocals on that particular album are sort of soft and slick, reminded me a little bit of the vocal style of Billie Eilish on her first album, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? But this album is really quite different from that. It shows her versatility, I think, a bit more as an artist. Also shows her leaning much more into heavy, hardcore metal territory, which of course, being a big metal fan myself, I am quite pleased that she's decided to do that. Also, I think that metalcore and hardcore might be her true calling in a way. I mean, she has collaborated with the likes of Knocked Loose earlier this year. She also performed live alongside Spirit Box as well in a recent performance, I think, of their song Soft Spine. She also has Jordan Fish on production duties in this album. I believe she's also been involved with Bring Me the Horizon, touring with them in the past. So she's no stranger to the metal world, and I'm aware of that. And I think she's also delved and dabbled in the metal world in previous works too, not being familiar of her full back catalogue myself. One thing I want to say straight away though is that the thing that really won me over with this record was the spirited, passionate performances in a lot of these songs, and in particular certain tracks where she does go into heavier territory. There are some absolutely bone-chilling, raw, primal screams from Poppy on this album that really won me over completely. I mean, there was a point in the album that I went from just liking the album to loving the album, and she's even probably now got a record here which has torn its way into my end of year list and slightly upset the order of that list. I'm not quite sure how the album order is going to completely work out. But anyway, let's talk about some of the songs on this pretty impressive and versatile record from Poppy, this Negative Spaces release. So first track I'm going to talk about is actually Opener, Have You Had Enough, which I feel like kind of showcases her versatility very well in an opening song for an album. And she also there's definitely a Shirley Manson garbage style about this track, but add in a ferocious breakdown into the mix as well. So think garbage, but with big metalcore breakdowns. You have something like the opening track that Poppy offers us as the first song on this album. The song which actually sparked my interest actually before the release of this record was Theyre All Around Us. I enjoyed the video to that as well. I think she's got a real talent for visual artistry maybe as well in her videos. They're really quite interesting too. And this cemented my interest in, wanting to check out the album when it came out. Just again, I really enjoyed her screams, and I suddenly was taking notice of what she was doing with her music with that particular pre-release single, Theyre All Around Us. Crystallize, another song I'm going to touch on fairly briefly. I mean, that was like a pure synth pop track to me. That worked. I thought it worked quite well, even in the sort of context of the album where you do have more heavier leaning tracks. She does have enough of that electro style still going on that the album never feels too disjointed, whilst it does have a certain adventurousness about it and goes into lots of different directions. Where this album really took off for me though was with a 1-2 punch on the album of Nothing and then the centers falling out. Poppy delivers an absolutely stunning performance. I feel like I can hear a little bit of Courtney LaPlante coming through in those screams on these songs. They are really, really powerful. Like I said earlier, there's a primal sort of thing going on with there's a real rawness and passion behind those screams that just completely, won me over and made me think, actually, this Poppy is becoming a force to be reckoned with, certainly in the metal world, perhaps even more so than the pop world, as it were, if you can call it such a thing. So otherwise, there's another song on here I was going to mention, which was called Surviving on Defiance. I thought calling on a bit of a Deftones influence in that song with both the ambience and the drifting guitar chords that you hear, and she mixes up her vocals pretty well in that song as well, again showing that element of versatility that she has to offer. A song which I sort of have mixed feelings about, and I'll explain that. I did enjoy New Way Out as a single for this album. I thought it was a good track, but there was, for me, I do like it when artists draw on other influences, but when they make it very obvious which influence they're drawing on, I can be taken out of the music a bit. And New Way Out, there was a very, very obvious nod to David Draymond of Disturbed on this album, which just slightly took me out of the music for a bit. But one or two pretty minor criticisms aside, I think this Poppy album is really quite excellent. And I was actually, before this review, going to give this an 8, but talking it through and listening to it again and again, I'm feeling like I am now actually going to give this an 8.5. I think this has really catapulted Poppy, and she should be talked of. She deserves the talk and the attention now, I think, in, not just the metal world, but the music world at large. Everybody's talking about Linkin Park and From Zero, but for me, of these two albums, and this is just my opinion, you are welcome to your own, I think this is the better album. This is just, for me, that bit better than From Zero. So if you've only been listening to Linkin Park, don't forget to check Poppy out, because this album is a bit of a blinder, and it's a surprise for me for this year. So if I wasn't a fanboy of Poppy before, I'm now definitely a new Poppy fanboy. Thanks everyone for watching. As always, don't forget to drop a like and a sub if you enjoy these reviews. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy what's left of your Sundays, if it is still Sunday, in whichever part of the world you're in. Otherwise, from me, till next time, bye for now.